Welcome. This podcast is an exploration into being human and what's possible when there's less attention on the noise in our heads. Warning. While listening to this broadcast, you may experience moments of deep peace, sighs of relief, personal insights, or long stretches of dead air. Do not be afraid. This is normal. Under the Noise with Wyn Morgan and Kate Roberts.
Welcome to Under the Noise. I'm Kate Roberts, and I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Wyn Morgan. How are you?
I'm well, thank you, Kate. How are you?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Doing well.
Wonderful co-host too, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. So you had an idea. I'm excited. I like this topic. This is cool. But I'll let you introduce it.
So this was something Aaron Turner and I were preparing to do a workshop in Prague, Listening World Summit. And he and I met for breakfast before that to finalize the detail of how we're going to plan this workshop in a few hours later. And it was around having relationships from being bad to good to amazing. Or as I did it, it was, I put a more of a kind of like an intellectual wording behind it, which was combative or adversarial to collaborative to synergistic, right? So to therefore make every relationship, the potential of every relationship to be better. So he and I were just mulling it over. And he said something that really made me think about me having any kind of, I don't know, little bug in my brain about something or someone, that I'm the one who pays the price. Because to the extent I'm bothered by something in my mind, I'm the only one who is bothered by it. And while I'm being bothered by it, my capacity to enjoy my day and my life is diminished. So it was just so simple for me to see, wait a minute, any feeling I've got like that is a direction I don't want to have that much tolerance for. I could just switch, potentially, to not having tolerance for having a bug in my brain. That doesn't mean that there's things that don't need to be attended to. There will be things in life that we have to attend to, situations that we need to have some difficult conversations, maybe. But the extent that there could be ill will towards somebody or a thing is not helpful. And I'm the only one who pays the price. So that was, I guess about coming up to a month ago now, right?
Mm-hmm.
At the time of recording. And it's been noticeable to me that when I have got a bug in my brain, that I can just easily switch. So I don't like this. And my mind relaxes again. Because I've noticed that my mind being relaxed and being at ease is absolutely, well, two things. First of all, it works better. My mind is there. And I feel better. So the obvious question is, why don't I just stay there longer? So I noticed when I'm out of it a little quicker, and I'm really enjoying the fact that I can just be more relaxed and more at ease mentally and emotionally in everything in my life. So that's the start. Kate Roberts, my wonderful co-host.
Well, man, it's interesting because so many things popped up from just that small little intro to the topic that, like, the first one was a question. It was like, Well, any kind of chitter chatter in our personal minds is going to take up space, is going to not allow as much wisdom and flow to come through it, right? That's just how we work. But the question that showed up was, does that kind of, what was the word that you gave those thoughts?
Like in my brain?
Like negative. Those negative thoughts, resentful.
Ill will, I think, was a phrase.
Ill will. Okay, that's perfect. So let's say it feels like an ill will, a negativity, resentment, anything that kind of goes in that direction. The question was, does that take up more space? And for people that aren't watching the video, Wyn's nodding. So is that the answer? You feel like it takes up more space?
I think it does.
More clutter?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why?
Well, it must be clutter.
Why do you think because it makes you feel bad?
Well, but let's say two sides of it, right? There's ill will and goodwill. Goodwill to me feels really free and easy. Ill will is sticky. To me. That's what I think. So it must take more bandwidth because I'm less relaxed mentally, less at ease when I'm in a feeling of ill will. I'm tighter in my mind. And to me, anything that makes me tighter in my mind, well, I'd rather know it and therefore let it go.
Yeah.
That thought evaporate and move on, and the feeling will go with it.
It feels, because for me, the way that I seem to interpret those kind of thoughts and feelings, they do seem for me as well to take up more space. More clutter, heavier clutter. It affects me more than just like, when your mind's full up with your to-do list, right? But that can also create a pressure that you don't realize you've got as well, right? So, but for me, I seem to interpret it that way as well. Is heavier clutter, more clutter, less space. I don't know why though. But I think it does go to your point. Like it just doesn't feel good. I am more sensitive to it. But I don't know if that's because I just don't like it. So that's my personal preference, not really enjoying a bad feeling or a negative feeling I don't know. That's interesting.
The other thing I noticed is that being really open about it, I thought that my resentment towards something or someone in the past was warranted. It's kind of like, not maybe noble, but warranted. I should feel bad about this. And then realizing, well, I made that up. And it doesn't do anyone. So let's say that I was slighted 25 years ago, and I'm talking about a very specific thing that happened around that time. Let's say I was slighted, and every time that memory, that thought comes to life, I'm bothered by it, and it brings my mood and my state of mind down. I could think, well, they deserve me to think bad about that. They're not here. They're not the one paying the price. The only person paying the price for this resentment about what happened is me. I'm innocently doing it to myself. Really innocently doing it to myself, under the illusion that it's wise to hold on to resentment, because it means that they're paying the price. I shouldn't let them off the hook for this. It's the only person being let off the hook is me. I was explaining this as well. It was just so funny to me how much I have been holding on to things that maybe 24, 25 years old, and things that are 6 years old, 10 years old, 6 months old, thinking that they were a good idea, and then realizing, no, absolutely not a good idea for me to be ruminating over those bad feelings. Because the only person who's paying the price is me. And I don't want to do that. Why would I do that to myself, knowing it doesn't do anything to anyone else? And like, really, I've pretty much left them off the hook anyway. If I met them, I'd get over it really quickly. But in my head, geez, it felt like it was a good idea until I saw it for what it was. It doesn't mean that everything that happens is okay. It doesn't mean it was okay for people, for everything that human beings do is okay. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm noticing that letting go of the bad feeling towards the event and who it looks like caused it. I do mean those words, who it looked like caused it. Letting that go. I'm the one who benefits. Then I can even notice it. So this morning when I was sitting out in the garden, and I had a thought that was bringing me down a little bit, and was it clutter in your mind that I think that you said earlier on? A little bit of that was going on this morning. I was saying, I don't want to think about that. I don't have to think that. I took another sip of my coffee and it was done. And I was more into a feeling of presence, more into a relaxed mind as I sat out there at a little after 8 o'clock this morning. In that moment, I was back into a more of a feeling of enjoyment and connection. Not fighting the past in my brain.
You know how there are, and I'm making this up, right? So in my mind, there's levels of understanding. And it kind of makes me wonder if this is yours, your next one. Because, when we start to see how we work, realizing that it's our experience of thought that we're always ever having, we become more sensitive to the thoughts that do hurt us and that feel like clutter, and we get really sensitive to them. So it feels like that it's actually ramping up negative feeling rather than giving you some relief, right, from that. But in my mind, that's actually the gift. That sensitivity, because you're becoming more aware of what you're taking with you every moment, just dragging it around. And so that sensitivity is actually our gift, so that we become more and more aware of what doesn't fit anymore. Yeah. And so I imagine that you probably have 90% less of that kind of thinking that's playing out than you did, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago when this is playing out for you in real life. But then Aaron says something to you, and you're dropping into a new level of understanding and awareness, right? You're like, oh, I still have some leftovers, right? I still got those sneaky ones that have been showing up in my life for this long, right? And he points out that any any of that thinking will cloud our ability to connect with who we really are and our own wisdom. And now you've just moved into a space where you're sensitive to it. The sneaky ones. And they don't fit anymore. Even that 10%. Which is really beautiful, because that's your intolerance. Now this isn't even tolerable. But you know, it's sneaky too, because while that's a gift, and you realize you're deepening your understanding, and that's a natural side effect of that intolerance of that. Is for those to be okay too.
Right.
Yeah. And not to try to, like add judgment onto it. Now it's getting more cluttered.
Self-defeating. Yeah, self-defeating, right? I've got ill will towards any little ounce of ill will. Yeah, that ain't gonna. It's more of the same, not a release.
Right. And that's even sneakier.
Yeah.
Is the ill will to the ill will.
Any judgment, especially towards me, would be another sneaky bit. That I should do better, know better.
Yeah.
Nope.
And then the last thing that occurred, this is all still my insights from your intro, by the way. So the last thing that showed up was we can't, and this is something new, I think, that I'm starting to look at least, is that this understanding brings insight into how we really work. But that doesn't mean that like George Pransky would call it life's still a contact sport, right? It doesn't mean that life stops having difficulties or people that are okay with hurting or doing things that hurt us and there's this very interesting thing in life where we have these things, and let's say people do things to us which hurt. And that's the one, it could be years ago, right? But we love to drag it into our present. We just drag it and keep it alive, keep it fresh, keep it going. And there's this interesting place where those things do happen to us and experience whatever happens and allow whatever experience. So if it hurts, hurt. Right? If it makes us sad, sad. Feel whatever that experience brings and have that be okay. But then it's almost like by keeping it alive and continuing to kind of let it play out in the background, it's like not only I think impedes our natural healing, the healing that's taking place without our help, right? It's just, we heal. Our minds, our bodies heal, right? But the longer I think we hold on to those things, it almost is like it begins this new story of separation, which hurts, which is what we do. We add stories of separation. We don't see how we're like that person that hurt us. It takes us away from knowing we're all the same and I think any story of separation will hurt. Maybe even more than the original grievance.
Well, on that point too, it's also worthwhile remembering that the grievance was my thinking, not them. Always. My emotional response and reaction was all from me, not from them. Even in real time. And since then, of course it's the same. So what you've just said, I think, is a great reminder. That even in that moment when it looked like they hurt us, they hurt me, that's not how hurt works. How it will really look like it. It will really look like they caused it. It doesn't make it true. But that's how it looked. And then from the moment it happened, it's even more obvious to know that they can't be the one causing it because the event is no longer happening. So the feeling can only be coming from within me to me, by me. That thought appearing real, appearing as if well, the magic of how thought and consciousness can combine to make it look as if it is an event from the past that's making me feel something now, and it's what they did in the past that makes me feel something now. That's how incredible thought and consciousness combined are within the human mind. That's incredible capacity. To feel as if what we're imagining now is really happening.
You know, I feel like that sometimes is a truth that, you know, that expression, it's a bitter pill to swallow when you realize, oh, I've been doing it to myself a lot more than anyone's ever done that for me, right? When you realize, oh, I'm doing it to myself. When there's very powerful stories of what people have done to us that we've taken through the years, right? And we hold on like it's a treasure. That's how tightly we hold our stories. So that's a
You know
hard one.
what's helped me with that, though? Because I used to, when I first noticed that for me, I'm the one doing it. I really got into the blame Wyn game. As opposed to, yeah, it's happening within me, but it's not Wyn's fault. It's not my fault. It's not your fault. It's no one's fault. That's human beings. That's how thought and consciousness work in a human mind. It's not getting anything wrong. It's our nature as human beings, of how we work. That's the human system. That to me helped me see the impersonal nature of it, and therefore I was innocent too. Not only them, me too. So judgment, therefore, made even less sense towards me or to anyone else because it was just impersonal. You know, in the same way as the years go by, the hair on my face begets whiter. I'm not to blame. That's just how human beings are as the years go by, right? Well, yeah, I don't take that personally, nor is this personal. It's no more personal than the hair on my chin getting whiter as the years go by. Human beings.
You know, I wonder too if that's, you know, what's the best way to say that? If that's why so many of us cling to these, right, stories that it's them, because I think secretly we know we're doing it, right? So it's almost like this part of us that just kind of knows that we're doing it to ourselves. And so we don't really want to look at that. That's hard to look at. That's hard to admit. It's hard to look at. Oh my gosh, it's me, right? Because it really looks like that's the next stop. But when you stay in this conversation and you work with somebody in this conversation that's like, no, that's not the last stop. The last stop is actually all of our innocence. And now there's a space and a freedom to look at how we're creating it, right? Because now we know, oh, there's innocence on the other side of that. And that is what I think a lot of people, they don't know that. So they'd much rather just hold on to your culpability, you know, the other person's culpability, because they don't know innocence is on the other side. Well, that's what I love about this conversation and being with others that have seen the other side. Love that. Wow, that's huge. Thanks, Wyn.
Thank you, Kate. Grateful as always to chat back and forth about what we notice. And grateful to you listening as well, wherever you are today listening to this. And in the past few weeks, I've bumped into people I've never met before who have been saying, even yesterday, I had 3 people come up to me saying, I really like your podcast. And this is from people I'd never met in person.
Love that.
I do too. And if you're one of those that has never said that to Kate and myself, please come say hi, drop us a note and let us know that you're listening, because it always it makes it more special when we do this, to know where you are in the world, maybe some things you're enjoying about it, and include, please, more things that you'd love us to talk about. If there's anything that you'd like us to explore together, then please let us know. It can be something very personal. We've had a few people over the last few months reach out to us with personal things to them, and of course we keep that confidential. And yet we still talk to that. So we'd love to hear your thoughts and ideas and feedback too. So thanks for listening again this week, and we'll speak to you again very soon. You've been listening to Under the Noise with my amazing co-host Kate Roberts and me, Wyn Morgan. How to get hold of us and reach us via email, it's in the outro and wherever you found this podcast. Have a great week. Speak to you soon. Goodbye.
Thanks for joining us. We'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and review. If you have a topic or question that you'd like us to chat about, email Wyn or Kate at wyn@winning.co.uk and Kate at katerobertscoaching.com. Until then, enjoy what's possible under the noise.